whoop, make it rain, make it rain. Monetizing your app, that's what this video is all about. I'm already doing the rap poses, you see. So there's different way to monetize your app, but implementing advertisements is one of them. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to do just that with ATAdMob in your Xamarin.Forms application and a very simple to use NuGet that I found on the internet. Let's just go. So before we're getting right into the code, I'm going to show you this little website. It's called Xamarin Expert. You can go to it by xamarinexpert.it, which is a blog post by this person. I don't know what his name is. I think the NuGet package might be containing his name, so we'll see that in a little bit. But here they write about, oh, here his name is actually Marco Troncone. So thank you so much for putting this together, Marco. This is great. So here's a blog post where he also describes how to work with this thing. I'll link it in the video description, of course, so you can also read all about this. It has a couple of updates. It tells you how to install it. But I'm going to show you all of this in the video, of course. But this is good to have as a reference. Of course, we also have the GitHub repository, which has all these things as well. Here we go, Marco Jack MT ATAdMob. I don't know what it all stands for. This is probably references to his name as well. But version 1.6.1 at the time of recording, only 2 weeks old, so that is really, really cool. You can sponsor him by buying him a coffee, so if this is something that you are using, and of course that big bucks from the advertisings are coming on, then just consider sponsoring this person for all the great work that they have saved you. So again, here's a little bit of setup, etc., how to use it, but we'll all see that, how to do that in this video. So let's actually just dive straight into that code. Here we are. This is a familiar screen, Visual Studio for Mac 2019 on the left. You can also do this on Windows, of course. You can see the XAML of the main page, just a file new Xamarin.Forms application, and is running on the right on the iOS simulator. So let's update that title, because that is what we always do, ATAdMob sample. Save that, and with hot reload you can see your changes coming up automatically, but we're missing something in this case because, it's going to be ATAdMob sample. The big bucks are coming in. It's happening. So before I go and update all of the UI things, there's a couple of things that we need to set up first. So let's do that first. I'm going to stop running here for a little bit and go into our solution, right click on the solution level and say manage NuGet packages. And we're going to look for the empty ATAdMob package. Here we go, marktron.admob. It also already has 15,000 downloads, so that's really cool. Updated only a couple of days ago. I'm going to add that package, add it to all of your projects, because it's on your shared project for the shared bits, but it also needs renderers for Android and iOS. So let's just click that. I think Android and iOS are also the only supported platforms right now. So if you want to have any more support for platforms, consider contributing that to this wonderful project, because it's open source. You can totally do that. But for now, it's just iOS and Android, which is probably what most of you need anyway. So when this is installing, you can see this README popping up. Again, this will tell you a lot about what you need to set up. Actually, one thing that is important here is you can see this. I will talk about this a little bit more. In all the documentation that Marco is referencing, you can see IDs to applications or banners, because your banners and whatnot, your types of advertisements will also have IDs. And these are test keys that you can just use. So these are test keys that are provided from Google. So you can just use these, no problem at all. You can use these to test your app, no problem. So you can just copy this to see if it all works. And then whenever you're done, we will see that at the end of the video. You can go into your own ATAdMob account and replace these IDs. So I'm just going to close this README right now. And one of the first things that he said we need to do is actually update our Android manifest for Android and our info plist for iOS. So our info plist, I've opened that in Visual Studio Code. Here it is. And let me scroll down here, and we're going to add two things. The first one is going to be a key, and that is named GAD application identifier. identifier, which is something that he mentions in that README and on the repo. So you probably just want to copy and paste that thing. So here we go, /string. And the value that I'm going to use here is, again, a Google provided app identifier here. So I'll just copy this one, and I think you can have different apps, different IDs between the different apps for Android and iOS, but you can also just use the same. So you can spot the difference between an app ID and your advertisement ID, because here it has this little wave thing, the tilde. And for your advertisement things, it will have a slash in this place. So then you know whether you're dealing with your app ID or an actual advertisement ID. So there's that. And for iOS, we also need to do key GAD is ad manager app. To be very honest, I don't know what this does exactly, but we need to have it in here with a true value. So there's that. We can just save this and boom, we're done with this one. Now for Android, we need to kind of like do the same. We are going to go to the solution, the Android project. We can do that from right here. And we can just say properties, Android manifest. Whoops, not this one actually. I want to open it in this source code view. So I right click, open with, and I say source code editor. There we go. And then this bit is important. Inside of your application node, you will have to add something. And to be honest, it's a little bit complicated. So I'm just going to copy it from somewhere here off the screen. Copy that. Paste it, and it has this metadata node, and it says Android name. So this is the name of our application ID, and this is our Android value. So this is again that same application ID that we've just saw. So I'm going to save this one as well. And now our metadata is complete. So that is cool. Then we need a little bit of initialization code to make this all work. So let's again go to our solution, and I'm going to go to our main activity right here. That's the first one that I'm going to do. And after Xamarin.Forms, let's just do it afterwards. I don't think the order really matters, but let's just do it. And I'm going to say mobile ads dot initialize. There we go. And application context, we also have to specify that context, as is typical with a lot of these Android plugins. So we're just going to add that one. You can see it actually installed these Android GMS ads package, which is a dependency of the NuGet package that we're talking about here. And I think also what's important, what is noted in the ATAdMob plugin, is that you have to do this thing with the permission. So if you're just starting a file new application right now, Essentials is included and this code will also be there. But if not, then you might want to double check if this code is here and implemented the right way for your project. So this is done. This is all we need to do for Android. And now for iOS, we kind of need to do the same thing. So Android, iOS. But here we're going into the app delegate, which is the counterpart on iOS. And right here we're going to go to also right after Xamarin.Forms, and here we're going to say mobile ads dot shared instance dot start. And we need to do some kind of completion handler here, completion handler, which is an event that's going to be triggered whenever this is completed. Let IntelliSense solve this for us. So Google.mobile ads, again, this just installed some package for us that will help us with the my mobile ads bindings for the Google packages. That's all taken care of. And you want to have some private void completion handler here. Handler, which is an event handler, so we need to have object sender and event args, probably something like that. There we go. Oh, it's not the correct one. Well, actually, let's just generate it for us. Boom, there we go. Oh, it's initialization status. Okay, so whoops, let's just do it this way. Let's not throw any exceptions here. I'll just leave it empty for now, but whenever you're initializing this and something goes wrong, you might want to check in here what that is and see if you can fix it that way. So that is all we need to do for iOS as well, and now we can just start using it. So that is pretty cool. So we've updated the title, that's good. I'm going to remove all of these labels right here. And what I'm going to do is you do this ATAdMob. I actually need to import that namespace, but Let's just do it like this, empty add view. That's what the actual control is called. And now I can just say again, IntelliSense, do this for me, and it will add the right XML NS with the name of AdMob, and it will figure out this namespace right here. So there's that. And then I can use this empty add view. So that is pretty cool. Now, I think by default, it has a height of 50 or something, but if it doesn't show up, you might want to give it a height request, or you can use a style or whatever to, implicitly do that on all the empty add views. I haven't need that height request, so it just worked for me out of the box. The things that I did need to do is set the ad ID, ads ID, excuse me. And this is another ID that you need to use. So I'll just copy this from somewhere off screen here again. And this is going to be your kind of banner ID. So remember that I said here we have that / that we want to distinguish our advertisement ID and the application ID. It will become clear near the end whenever I go into the AdMob portal and show you. But this will make clear what ad we're actually going to show here. And actually that is all we need to do. I can just run this thing now and we should see our first ad banner pop up. It will have test over it because these are test IDs, like I said, provided by Google, just to see how it fits in your layout and if the code is all initialized properly. But that is perfectly used for demos and also to actually test your things, because then Apple will know that you're not trying to game the system and make more revenue for yourself. So here you can see the app is running, and you can see our banner is coming up right here. So that is pretty cool. With just a few lines of code, boom, we have our first banner up here. And I think you can make that height request bigger when you're maybe on a tablet or something else. You can also make it a little bit bigger, and it will show you a little bit bigger ads as well. It will detect how much space it has and show the right ads for you. So that is all picked up automatically. Now there's a couple of options that you can also set on the shared instance. So you can set this per banner or on the shared thing. But I think, comply to family policies. To be very honest, I'm not entirely sure, but this all has to do with GDPR and local laws and also like personalized ads. So this will go out and collect all kinds of data about your user. So make sure that you ask permission for your users to be able to do this, or look into the laws where you're releasing your app, if this is even allowed or not. I'm just here for the technical implementation. I'm not going to tell you and research for you how that all works. Please do that for yourself and make sure that you set these things right, because this is important. This is people's privacy, which is very important. And whenever you mess this up, then people might shame you for it and uninstall your app, and then you will get bad reviews and it will be a downward spiral. So please look into that. Like I said, you can set this per banner, but you can also set it on the shared instance, so that all the advertisements that you're showing in your app will adhere to that. So that is a quick note on that. Now the other thing I want to show you, because this is just showing banners and stuff, but there is some other cool stuff in here as well. So I'm going to add a couple of buttons here, and I'm going to say show video. So that's cool. That sounds promising. And I'm going to do clicked. So I'm going to add a new handler, and I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to also say Interstitial, I think it's called, which is, I don't know what the name actually is, but it is a certain type of advertisement. So that is pretty cool, where you can show like full screen videos and full screen interstitial. So I think that's just showing a banner full screen basically. And I'm now going to do that with a button click, but of course you can do that in any place in your application basically. So I'm going to again stop running right here for a little bit and go to our code behind of the main page right here. Double click that, and we have the button clicked and the button one clicked. So I think this one was show video, And this one was show interstitial. There we go. And there's something that you need to know about this, because this works in a kind of special way. You first need to load the video or the interstitial, and then you can actually show it. So I haven't actually talked about all of this stuff, but you have a lot of events that you can use. So if we go back to our main page example, here in the add view, there is a lot of events. So add clicked, add closed, add failed to load, add impression, left application, loaded, opened. So there's a whole bunch of things here that you can use to detect what your user is also doing with this advertisement. So that is really cool. And the same is with this button right here, actually. So you can access all of this with the cross ATAdMob. That's also the thing that I just mentioned earlier, where you can set all those privacy things. There we go, and it will add the using marktron.plugin. And what we can say here is .current, so that is the current instance of this class. And we can say on rewarded, because it's a rewarded video, and also here again you have a lot of events. But whenever it's loaded, we are going to actually play it. So we are going to declare this first, and I'm going to say this sender and args, because it can be the same as our little thing here. And I'm just going to do this event inline with a lambda expression. I could also make it a different thing, but you know, this works. And then I'm going to say cross ATAdMob.current.play. What is it? Reward video? Oh, it's show, probably show rewarded video. There we go. So this is going to actually show the video. Now I need to actually load it. So this is only going to be run when you know, it's actually loaded. So this doesn't do anything. And I probably don't want to do it on this button click like this, because like this, it will each time add this handler to this button. So actually, let's just not do this to not give you the wrong example. Let's just do it here. And then whenever I do this, I can say cross ATAdMob current.load rewarded video. And there we go. So here again, you will have to specify this add unit. You can just use one of the test IDs that Marco has provided in his documentation. You can also provide some empty rewarded add options in here. I'm not going to go into too much detail there, because you know, this video is going to probably be long enough as it is. So be sure to check that out. You have some options, but let me check if I have some test add ID right here for the video. I'm just going to copy this from somewhere off screen here, save that, and here we go. So whenever this is loaded, this thing gets triggered and it will actually show it. So you can also have two separate events. You can solve this any way you like, but this works. So let's just implement the interstitial as well, which is kind of like the same thing right here. And let's say dot on interstitial loaded. There we go. And of course, update this one too, show interstitial. And here again, we can say we want to load it. So I think this is kind of the same mechanism right here, load interstitial. And you can see like, hey, here you also have Booleans to see if it's actually loaded. And again, this has a lot of events that you can, you know, interact with to show your user what's going on or decide how to go about this. So let me get the interstitial ID from right here, copy and paste that in here. And I think then we're ready to give this another go. So let me just play it. And now we have those two buttons. And whenever I click those, you can see it will load a video and it will load that interstitial. So you have multiple ways of showing that advertisement, which probably also means that, you know, you will be rewarded in a different way. So a video will probably be rewarded with a little bit more money than anything else. So here we go. Here we can see this is rewarded. And our video is loaded just by the click of a button. It says test mode here at the top, and I can just close this one with the little cross right here. And the same thing for the interstitial, which just you know, is a bigger banner that will be shown full screen. So here you have different advertisements that you can work with in your application, which is pretty cool. So Quickly, one last thing that I want to show you about all these IDs, because now you know how to implement this, and it's up to you how to make it fit nicely into your layout and not maybe bug your users with it too much, because you always have to find that balance between showing this to your user and getting to monetize your application, but not irritate them too much with the advertisements. So let's go back to our browser for a little bit, and I also have open here my Google AdMob account. You can see it's not going very well. I just have one user and 0 cents. But this is just a test app for iOS. Whenever you create an app, you have to specify the platform, but I don't think that's really necessary. I think you can use the same app ID, but have different advertisements, or I don't know how you actually need to do that. But let me know in the comments if you do know, then I can learn from you, because I'm not an expert in this stuff. I just know how to implement code. But you can go here, apps, you can say add app, you can create a new one. I'm sure you'll figure that out. And whenever you do have that app, I have that test app here, you can go to app settings. And here we have that app ID that I was mentioning to you. So this is the thing that you need to add to your metadata, to your info.plist and your Android manifest file. And you can see this is the app ID because of that tilde character, right? So the wavy thing, that's that. And then you can go to add units. I already created there one too. This is a banner. You can create a new one, and you can see that interstitial. You can make a rewarded video right here. There's a couple of other ones that are not supported with this library right now, but so just focus on the ones that are there. And whenever you do, I have this test add unit, and you can get that add unit ID, and here we have that slash. So this is the one that you need to actually put into your banner or your interstitial video loading or whatever. So that is how the IDs are connected together. With this, you should be able to monetize your app and implement those advertisements. So there's a couple of things you need to do. You need to set it up. You need to implement some initialization code, then, add those banners. By the way, I'm doing all of this in XAML, but of course you can also do it in C# code, like with everything that you can do in XAML. Make sure that you get that privacy settings right. That is something that is very important. But other than that, go out, set up your ATAdMob account, and I hope you can monetize your application and get back some of that love and effort that you've put in there. Let me know if this helped you. If there's something else that you'd like to see, if you have any more questions, please let me know in the comments, and I'll be sure to answer you and look at it. Other than that, please just like this video, subscribe to my channel, and since talking about monetization, you can join this channel as an actual member. Go check that out. Click that little join button to see what it's all about. And I will be very, very grateful if you actually do and support me with my efforts here a little bit. Other than that, I will be seeing you for my next video. Keep coding.